What's going on, Jab Jab Nation? Ozil here, and I just want to welcome you once again to the YouTube channel. I'm excited. I wanted to shoot this video to talk about the most anticipated, one of the most anticipated boxing fights of 2023. The matchup between Caleb Sweet Hands Plant and the Mexican monster himself, David Benavidez. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm assuming that you're a boxing fan and you are just as excited as I am about this fight Saturday, March 25th on Showtime and The Zone. I don't know what else to say. I've been watching all the press conferences. There's not much to say anymore, but it's fight time. It's fight time. It's going down this Saturday, and I wanted to shoot this video to talk a little bit about a preview of the video, kind of my assessment, and of course, I'm going to share with you at the end my predictions. And I want to hear from you. Who do you have winning this fight? And make sure you comment down below and share that with the rest of the Jab Jab Nation. And I know it's just me, but we're going to manifest this. We're going to grow this YouTube channel one video at a time. I know there's a ton of great YouTube boxing channels out there, but this is me sharing my passion for the world of boxing, my passion for boxing, and then of course being able to build a community of the Jab Jab Nation with you. So if you're down, if you hit subscribe, just know that I'm going to be doing a lot more live streaming, predictions, previews, some live stuff. So I'm really excited. So let's make it happen. All right, so let's get right to it. Plant versus Benavidez. What to expect? Listen. I can go on and on about this fight, right? You've seen all the interviews, you've seen all the conferences, the press conferences, and of course the one that we just saw today, which was today. I'm recording this on Thursday. 2 more days left. The press conference, it was good. It was intense, and it looks like both of the fighters look ready. David Benavidez looks amazing. Sweet Plant, as y'all know, he always comes in shape, ready to fight. And, I think this is going to be a really exciting fight between a boxer with Plant who likes to box and use his feet, and versus a brawler, but a brawler that has a different kind of style. David is one of those fighters that, yes, he comes at you, he'll put a lot of pressure on you, but he has a lot of other skills that a lot of brawlers don't necessarily have. And what am I talking about? Well, he uses his jab. He has a very long jab that I believe that if he uses it, it's going to be the key to victory for this fight. I think that using the jab will equalize Plant, and he will be able to really keep him at bay and then come in with some pressure to land some big shots. So David Benavidez brings that kind of brawling, boxer puncher style, and of course Plant being a mover. I think this fight's going to be interesting. And a lot of people are saying that it's a 50-50 fight, and I do believe it's a 50-50 fight for the most part on paper. If you look at the history of boxers versus brawlers, it all depends, right? If you get 2 skilled fighters, it's 50-50 because you got a brawler that can continue putting pressure. But if that boxer doesn't have the endurance, doesn't have that supreme skill set to really outbox the brawler, it's going to be a tough night for the boxer. Now, you've seen it the other way around where the boxer is really skilled. They're using their foot movement, they're using their jab, and they're just constantly just making the brawler work, miss, and usually the boxer takes it. So it depends on what level, and there's a lot of factors when it comes to those 2 different styles on who's going to come out on top at the end. And this one is really tough just because here's the thing about Plant. I think Plant is a super skillful fighter. We obviously saw him against Canelo Alvarez, where he was competitive for the first few rounds, but his endurance wasn't quite there. And you could tell that he was lacking the pop to be able to withstand and make sure that to keep a pressure fighter like Canelo at bay. And really, Canelo was pressuring, but he's not that textbook pressure fighter. He was more of like kind of a stalker. He'll put the pressure, but in a different way. And that's kind of the style that Canelo brings to boxing. But it's going to be interesting because, he kind of gassed out. And I know that he has a new trainer in Breadman, and he looked great against Anthony Durrell in his last fight. But I think the true test is going to be, can Caleb Plant have that stamina ready? Is he ready to go 12 rounds, against a really dominant pressure fighter, in your face, long arms, jab, throw-in type of fighter? And that's going to be really the thing that's going to make this fight really, really interesting, to see whether or not how Plant can counter that. If he has the endurance and he does box David and really does a number on like really outboxing him, then he has a chance to be able to take this into a 12-round unanimous decision. Now, nobody is predicting. I've seen not one prediction video saying that Caleb Plant will win the fight by knockout. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that if he wins this fight, it'll be a 12-round split or unanimous decision, and he will outbox David Benavidez. So that's kind of like what Caleb Plant brings to the table. But he's very skillful. He is sitting down on his punches, what we saw against Durrell. But, I have my own take on it, because with that fight with Durrell, that was one of those, I don't want to say lucky punches, but it was one of those special punches that it happens every now and then. He's not known for having punch out, some knockout power. Plant is more somebody who likes to just kind of, pop shot and just move around. But, I think that if we can, and of course, it was just that turn and Durrell was there for the landing. And that was just a beautiful shot that took out Durrell. But are we going to continue seeing that from Plant? I don't necessarily see that, simply because he's not that type of fighter. And he hasn't shown us that type of power, right, to do that. But I'm sure he'll have knockouts, but that was a special knockout. I don't think we'll see that with Benavidez. Or against Benavidez, rather. So, again, Plant brings in a lot of skill sets. Very, very talented boxer. He is going to use a lot of lateral movement. He is going to try to do a pop shot and kind of, make sure that he keeps David Benavidez away. But also, what's going to be really interesting about this fight is that Plant also likes to mix it up. And I think that's what's going to make the fight really interesting, is he will get in the pocket and try to box and fight. So I think that could be danger zone against somebody like David Benavidez, which makes the fight even more exciting. Now, let's talk about David Benavidez. I already talked earlier about what he does right. He's not, like, his footwork is not always the best. He can definitely plan and kind of walk you down, but his movement sometimes is one-dimensional, but he likes to stalk. He does have some pretty good defense. He does get hit often. But I think against Plant, I don't think that'll be a worry of David. I think what David will do is he'll pressure the fight, he'll use the jab, keep Plant at bay, and then he'll come in to tire him out. And I think in the later rounds, we'll see Benavidez really kind of pour in and really land some big shots. So he is very accurate with his punching. We all know that he hits hard. What I like about David Benavidez is that he's one of those super middleweight fighters that he will go to the body, and he'll use the body like the old school welterweight champions of the back in the day, where he'll just go up and then boom, liver shot. And he uses those skill sets and that type of technique and adds that to his arsenal, which I think makes David Benavidez stand out from all the super middleweights, and it makes him a special fighter. Excuse me. So I need some water. I need to bring some water. Where's the water at? But it got me excited, right? So yeah, this fight's gonna be really, really dope, guys. I don't know how you feel about it. I think it's gonna be it's a 50-50 fight on paper, simply because of the skill sets. And then there's that question of, like, David Benavidez has fought competitive fighters, some really, really tough guys. David Lemieux, and some other, who was it that he fought? Ellis, and some other fighters. So he's fought some durable dudes, but, and Plant also has as well, and of course, he fought Canelo, the king, but it does not mean that both of those fighters don't have, like, a good, a body work of, like, highly competitive opponents. So really, Plant can't say too much about David's, past opponents, because it's not like, Plant has had, a backlog of, he doesn't have a bunch of fighters on his list that are really, really, really competitive. So that being said, this fight's gonna be really interesting. Skill sets, boxer versus pressure fighter, brawler. I do believe that the tipping point is David Benavidez. I think that's his size is going to be the tipping point. I think that's what's going to be the thing that makes this fight a bit more on the side of David Benavidez, which brings me to my prediction. I do believe that David Benavidez will win this fight. I think that David Benavidez will add the pressure. I think it'll be competitive. I do see Plant winning a few rounds early on. I think he's going to use a lot of foot movement, and I think he's going to do a lot to kind of keep David out. And it's in his best interest, right? The more he can keep David out and just outpoint him, that's the key to victory, right? The easier it'll make the fight. But I think David is going to taste a little bit of Plant's power in the beginning, and I think he's going to go for it. I think we're going to start seeing him really, really put the pressure. And Plant, although he is a skillful boxer, I don't think he's like a supreme elite level boxer, if you know what I'm saying. He's not like an Earl Spence or like a Floyd Mayweather. He's not at that level, but super skillful, good on his feet. He can pop, but I think the lack of power and the fact that he struggles with his endurance could be the X factor here. I think that David will put the pressure because of his long range, because of that jab. And I think if David uses that jab and sticks it out and then goes to the body, I do believe that he can knock him out. I don't think it's going to be in 6 rounds. I do feel like he's going to knock him out, I would say 10th or 11th round. I think David will wear him out. I do feel like Plant will be coming in condition, high condition. I know he's coming prepared. But at the end of the day, I think David Benavidez, the Mexican monster, as they call him, has what it takes to beat a Caleb Plant. Size, power, volume of punches. And I do believe that his defense and his skill set is actually good enough to be able to fight and beat a boxer of the Caleb Plant caliber. All right, if that makes any sense. So anyhow, guys, let me know down below. That is my prediction. David Benavidez in 11 rounds. I think he will stop him. And I think it's going to be a really, really exciting fight. So let me know down below. Hopefully somebody watches this. Let me know what you thought of this video. If you dig the video, please hit subscribe, like, share with your people. Listen, it's all about kind of sharing our shared passion for boxing. I love boxing. And I'm pretty sure I'll share a little bit more about my history with boxing and why I love boxing so much in future videos. But this one, I just wanted to talk about the upcoming most anticipated, because I've been really looking forward to this fight between David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. So stay tuned for much more. Thank you guys. Subscribe to Jab Jab Nation. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.